Hello everyone, my name is Christian. Welcome back to my hobby blog. Today I'm going to be talking about the live action One Piece Season 2. And I just finished this a few days ago and I loved it. That's sort of my initial reactions. I loved it. I think it's better than Season 1. Season 1 I felt like had a lot of sort of tonal issues. It kind of just kept going from super serious to super funny. And it wasn't really that good middle ground. And I feel like this season really balance that tone a lot better than season one. And I also really love the performances of everybody. I'll keep it non-spoiler for now. I will get into spoilers later, but I will also go into full series spoilers up to the current chapter because there are some things that are discussed in the season that I was really surprised about. And I'm really excited to kind of get into that. And I do plan on having a group discussion with a friend of mine, Colin, about the season and sort of go into the nitty gritty, but I'm just going to talk about my highlights for this season. So first thing first is that the performances are just way better, I feel like, this season. Everybody brought the A game. I felt like the writing was just perfect, and I think what is attributed to that is that it is such a close adaptation to the manga and also the anime that I really love. Sort of just everything is just so good. Like there's nothing that's new that sort of, drops on its face or falls, just really badly. I don't know. Like it's just such an accurate adaptation. And there's so many things that they did right and even better than the manga and anime that I was just in love with this season. I loved all of the new characters. Baroque Works is an organization that I don't like in the anime or manga, but in the TV show, I really feel like they made them much better. And I really enjoy the performances, especially by Mr. 5, Mr. 3. Mr. 3 is probably my favorite. I love the wax powers. And I just really loved also how they had each arc basically be one episode. But as the season went on, the longer arcs like Little Garden and Whiskey Peak, both of those kind of became longer, and also Drum Island, which I have a hot take about Drum Island this season. But I'll go into that a little bit later. But I really loved the performances by Iñaki, who plays Luffy. I thought he was just awesome this season. He was just so funny, very sincere, and I just could not get enough of the Straw Hats this season. Like, I really wish these seasons were longer, and I just can't get enough. Like, that's how you know when a TV season is going really well, is that you can't get enough of it. And I felt the same way about the Dunk and Egg TV show, Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Like, I did not want that to end. And I was very happy that this season was just so strong, and I already want to rewatch it. I tried rewatching season 1, and I just could not get through it. The early episodes are just really clunky, I feel like, but it does find its stride eventually. But I'm going to go episode by episode, at least episode highlights by episode highlights. So episode 1 adapts the Logue Town arc, and I think Logue Town is my first arc that I would recommend people really pay attention to when it comes to the anime and manga, because there's so much good stuff in there that continues throughout the rest of the series. And I love Logue Town. That was the first arc when I was watching it on One Piece that I really felt like the show or the anime had really found its footing. And this was the first episode of the season, and I can say it was exactly the same thing with this season, is that the Netflix show has found its footing. And I really loved all of the blink and you'll miss it details, because we have a lot of really interesting characters show up. We have Buggy show back up, we have Alvida show back up, and I love those characters. Buggy's one of my favorite characters of the anime and also the manga. And I feel like the Netflix TV show is going to bring him back every season, which I do not mind at all. But they also bring in a lot of surprising characters. I mean, I know this character is in the manga and he shows up, and also in the anime, but they never announced a casting for this character, and it's the character of Dragon, who I don't know if it's a big spoiler or not, but he's the father of one of the Straw Hats. I'm not going to say which one, but he is one of the parents in the series who kind of pops in and out constantly. And I also really love that they teased the character of Sabo, because I did not see him when I was watching the TV show. I was so laser focused on Dragon. And then Sabo shows up, and I saw that on a clip online, and I was like, how did I miss this? Like, I was so zeroed in on Dragon. I love Dragon. He's one of my favorite characters, but I was so shocked seeing Sabo in the background. And that was awesome. And also, we see a character who appears way later in the manga, in maybe chapter 800 to 1000. I can't remember exactly when, but this is the character Bartolomeo. And this is a character who I think is just lovely. I loved him in the Dressrosa arc. He is like a huge Luffy fanboy. It's kind of his backstory. But we don't see him in Logtown in the manga or anime. We kind of see him in the background, maybe. I've never been able to spot him. But I really loved sort of having him in the Netflix show much earlier than what the anime and manga did, because he is a major character to Luffy's arc when it comes to later on down the line. But I really loved seeing him like this early and kind of getting that treat as someone who's caught up to the series, because it's so fun kind of seeing all the little sort of references that the TV show is making. And Logtown is a prime spot to do that, because that is the site where Goldie Roger was executed by the world government, or by the Marines, I guess. But this just gave so many more kind of nuance and sort of a lot more to chew on as a fan of the series. And I really loved also the character of Tashigi and Smoker this season. I thought they were fantastic. I really wanted more of them, but it'd be hard to kind of fit them in with how little one time we have between every episode. But I thought Tashigi was just awesome. She is just such a well-acted character. She has so much charisma. And her and Smoker together on screen, like, although they don't see eye to eye about everything, there's definitely like a boss and subordinate kind of relationship going on. You can see that they have a lot of respect for each other, and Smoker's very kind of stubborn and showing his respect and sort of, you know, keeping her in line and making sure that she is sort of following the rules of the Marines. I mean, I love that moment when he's like, hey, don't do your little dance now. And I thought that was just such a cute like moment between them. And I also loved her meeting with Zoro kind of randomly. And Zoro has that really funny moment where he's like, I'm not lost. I'm known for my sense of direction, which is such a meme like in the anime and manga, because he's always getting lost. That's his main like character trait. But he's not like a sword guy. Like, he's always getting lost. So I really loved the moment when they're in the sword shop together, and we see Katetsu, which is one of my favorite swords in the manga. And there's so much I can talk with about that, but I won't. There's not enough time. But I love that moment where the shopkeeper is like, oh, like, I'll give you 200,000 bellies for this. And the guy is like, oh, like, it's not for sale. It's not for sale. And he keeps raising the price. And Tashigi comes in. It's like, oh my gosh, you have this sword. It costs usually like 20 million bellies. And the shopkeeper's like, oh my gosh, like, he's so frustrated. And I really love that moment. It's straight from the anime and manga. So it was just really fun kind of getting that in the live action as well. And we also have a really fun sort of flashback in this episode between Gold Roger and Gop, where we get a lot of kind of hints towards backstory stuff. And I'll get into that when I talk about full series spoilers, because I was shocked at some of the references that they made in this scene. But I also want to talk about my favorite character from Baroque Works, who is Miss All Sunday. if you know who this character is and her true identity, then you know that she is a very major character within the entire series of One Piece. And we get just a tiny little bit of, I guess, exploration with her. She pops in and out, from random episodes, and we don't really get too much with her. But I think next season we will get a lot with her, and especially in season 4, because season 4, I think, is going to be all about her arc. I won't go into detail, but she's a very major character, and she's one of my favorite characters within the series. And I can't really speak too much about it because it's spoilers for past this season. But I really loved episode 1. I thought that was my favorite episode at the time I watched it, even though that's funny because it's only episode 1. But I will say episode 2 was absolutely my favorite. It's my favorite TV episode in a very long time. And this is adapting the story of... I can't remember the arc name, but it's the entire backstory of Laboon. Laboon is a character who I feel like brings in a lot of emotional reactions when he appears on screen, because he's a giant whale. He's trying to break through the red line with his head. He has a lot of scars on his head. He's trying to get to his crew, who he feels like they forgot about him. But once you learn about the fate of them later on in the series, you kind of learn that, like, it's not, because of that. Like, there's a lot more tragedy behind this backstory. And we have the character of Crocus kind of telling the Straw Hats, like, what happened. And we get a really nice flashback scene. And I think this is what cemented this episode as my favorite, because this is the backstory scene that we get much later in the show. All we get in the anime and manga is sort of like the story of Laboon being abandoned. And, like, we don't really know, like, why, who the people were, who the pirates were. Nothing like that. And this was a change that I was very happy with when it came to the Netflix show, is that they brought in that backstory stuff to the season. And we find out that the One Bar Pirates, who are the ones who were with Laboon has a really tragic backstory where he was abandoned by his pod, and he's kind of wandering the ocean alone, and he finds this singing pirate crew who sings Binks's Brew, a very iconic song within the series. Everyone loves it, who has listened to it. I have it on my Spotify. Like, I love listening to that song. I want to learn it on bass. Like, that's a project that I've been kind of thinking about and wanting to do, but I don't know. I'm not the most motivated when it comes to learning new songs on bass. So, but I want to say that, like, that song is just such a tearjerker every time I listen to it, because there's so much history and context surrounding this song. And we get it in the season, because it's usually around chapter 500, I think, is when the anime gets into it. And it's really disappointing that it takes so long for us to get that context. Maybe it's like chapter 400. I can't remember exactly. But I would say that I am so thankful that they showed the One Bar Pirates, and especially the character of Brook, because Brook is a character who I think is one of my favorite characters within the series as well, with Miss All Sunday, because he just has such a rich backstory, and we don't know everything about him, even to the current chapter that we're reading, and we're kind of getting some teasers about some more of his history right now in the current chapters, which I'm very excited for. That's a little tease for those who aren't caught up. But it was so fun to see him in the series, and him playing his fiddle. Like, it was just such a lovely, lovely scene. Getting him, getting younger Crocus, getting all the rest of the One Bar Pirates singing Binks's Brew, and Laboon is kind of happily splashing around and, kind of whistling to the song. And it was just such a tearjerker. And I just love that scene. I love scenes that emotionally affect me. And that is definitely one of the episodes that does that. And I really also loved how later in the episode we get Luffy singing Binks's Brew to Laboon. I thought that was just one of the most effective scenes in the entire series so far, including season 1. And I just this episode, I think, will remain my number one episode. And we'll have to see what season 3 brings, because I don't know how they're going to top this episode. But there's one thing I want to talk about with that scene, but it has to be full series spoilers. So I'll try to come back to that. I'll try to remember. I do have it on my notes to talk about it. But episode 3 was kind of the first episode with Whiskey Peak. Or it was, I guess, it was a singular episode about Whiskey Peak. And I'll be honest, this is an arc I did not care about on my first read and watching the anime. I just don't care about Baroque works, as I said earlier. But the TV show keeps it good enough that it was fun to watch. I really loved Zoro versus 100 people. Like, I thought that was awesome. I really thought that was fun. And also the camera work during that action scene was awesome. I thought it was really well done. The stunts were great. I love the creativity also when it came around the fights and sort of how they was sort of getting through all the 100 people, because I know the actor for Zoro, McKinney, I think his name is, he was saying how he wanted 100 stunt people. Like, he didn't want people just repeating themselves, kind of like in, very trashy kind of martial arts movies where they have like the same 5 stunt people just coming in and out of the scene, and you kind of tell that they're the same people, and it kind of weakens, the scene. And Zoro or McKinney is kind of like, hey, I didn't want that to happen. I want this to be like a true me versus 100 people. And I love that. I love that scene. And I'll also give a shout out to, I think it was, I don't know the numbers all that well. I think it was Mr. 7. But we have this character of, he has kind of like a early America's like haircut with the white, buns and all that. And he's kind of the assistant to, or the bodyguard of the other Baroque work lady. I can't remember her number, but we later found out she is Princess Vivi from Alabasta. And I loved those characters. I really thought they did it better than the manga and the anime. I keep saying those two together because I read I did the anime through One Piece, but I didn't read it. So I assume it's about the same as One Piece did. But I really love those characters in the anime, but I think the Netflix show elevates them. Like, Vivi was a character that took me a while to get invested into on my anime watching, but in the Netflix show, they immediately get you invested because she is just such a charismatic character. And they really set up the risks and the kind of obstacles that are coming later for her earlier than in the anime, from what I remember. But I really love those two from this episode on. And I really loved sort of the fight between Mr. 5, who has the booger bombs. Like, I thought he was awesome this season. I'm not going to say it was way better than the anime, but I think he slightly elevates it because the actor is just such a fun and charismatic guy. Like, it was just so well done, this character. And I love his fight against the Straw Hats. And sort of they're trying to get away and get onto the ship with Vivi. And we have this really emotional scene where Igaram, that's his name, Igaram ends up sacrificing himself in order to save Vivi. And I thought that was a really effective part of the show. And I really loved sort of that moment because in the anime, I was kind of emotionally invested in the characters, but I didn't feel that death as much as I did in the TV show of Netflix's, because they really dive into his character and kind of the performance as well is just really well done, and they really kind of sold the character for me compared to the anime, which is awesome. I mean, I enjoy when live action shows elevate what's already been done, but I will say it was probably my least favorite episode, and I did enjoy kind of Mihawk haunting Zoro. I mean, we don't get really any Mihawk this season, which is fine. He's not here in the arcs either, in the manga and also in the anime, but I really loved seeing him again. I thought he was fun. I'm very curious if he'll show up in season 3. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But I'm also going to talk about episode 4 and 5 kind of together because I loved Little Garden. I think this is my favorite kind of arc of the season, as much as I love Logue Town and I love the later stuff with Drum Island. Like, I think Little Garden was my favorite section of the season. As much as I love the Laboon stuff, like, I think there's so many variety within Little Garden. I love the dinosaurs. I loved the Baroque works showing up again, and it's the more powerful Baroque works. We have the appearance, one of my favorite villains, turned kind of complicated character, Mr. 3, who is played by the amazing David Dastmalchian. I think I said that name right. I hope I did. But I thought he was awesome. He was easily my favorite new character of the season, aside from Miss All Sunday. But I just really love these set of episodes. I love Dorian Brogy, one of my favorite side characters. I feel like Little Garden was the first arc for me that was like a 9 out of 10 when I was watching the anime, because I love giants. I love that in fantasy. I love giants. And I also really love the deep history between the two, Brogy and Dory, and sort of the centuries-long duel, and also the kind of history between the giant pirates and how Dory is sort of the captain of it. And they have this feud going on, and they don't even remember why they're fighting. And then at the end of the episode, they remember again, and they resume the fight. And then they help the Straw Hats get away from the island because a giant goldfish shows up, and it's like, I don't even know. It's like city sized. It's like a huge goldfish, and they just both like swing at the goldfish, and they use, I guess it's hockey, I don't know, but they use a slash, and it just cuts a huge hole through the goldfish, and they sail right through it. That's straight from the anime and manga, and I love that. I mean, this was a very, very accurate kind of 1-to-1 adaptation of Little Garden, and I love Little Garden. Again, Baroque Works, like, as an organization is okay, but the individual characters, like, I really enjoy. And this episode, these 2 episodes, had my favorite characters from Baroque Works. It had Mr. 3, Mr. 5. It also had that really creepy painter lady, who I can't remember the number of, but I thought she was awesome. She was just so fun. And she was a character I did not care about at all in the anime. And in this TV show, they made her just so fun. And I'm happy they did that. And it was just really cool. But I will say, I'm going to talk about the final arc, which is Drum Island. This is my favorite early arc before Alabaster, because this is kind of the arc where we meet my favorite character, Chopper. And I have a keychain with Chopper like that, and I also have a water bottle with Chopper. And Chopper is a character who I absolutely love. He is my favorite Straw Hat, and he is just such a lovable guy. Like, I just love him. I love my cute animals, so, Chopper, that's why I love him. And also, he's a doctor, and his backstory, my God, that was my favorite part of the section, was episode 7, which was all his backstory and kind of exploring how he became who he is today, about how he was a blue-nosed reindeer, kind of like a twist on Rudolph, with his red nose. And we have him kind of abandoned by his family, and we don't get too much with that because he was just a reindeer. And he went out into the wild and ate a devil fruit that kind of gave him sentience and the ability to talk. And then so he was like, oh, since I can talk, maybe the humans will accept me. And he showed up to the humans. It was like, hey, I'm Chopper, or whatever. I mean, it wasn't his name at the time, but he was kind of like, hey, like, here I am. And the humans started hunting him. They shot him. And we meet these 2 amazing characters. I didn't care for this character in the anime, but Hero Luck, who was the male doctor, he's kind of the one who brings Chopper under his wing and kind of heals him back to health, or nurses him back to health, and kind of forms a bond with Chopper and gives Chopper his name, because he's like, oh, those antlers, they look like they can chop down trees. That's how powerful they look. And Chopper loves it, and so his name is Tony Chopper. and we get this really emotional kind of episode where it's just tragedy upon tragedy for Chopper, because we find out that Hero Luck has like a heart disease basically, and that he's going to die soon, and he drives Chopper away, being like, "I'm tired of you," and I'm happy he didn't like throw a rock at Chopper like so many movies do, and the characters are trying to get rid of like an animal companion character, because that's usually what they do. They're like, "I'm sick of you," and they throw rocks at it, and it's like really sad. But he didn't do that, so thank you, Netflix, for not going into that trope. But I really enjoyed seeing the very complicated relationship, because we have this character of my God, her name is not popping up for me, but gosh, it's the other doctor, Kureha, Dr. Kureha. I'm so happy I remembered. But she's kind of telling Hero Luck that he needs to like tell Chopper that he's dying, and that you shouldn't be driving away your friend, because he should know the truth. And Chopper is listening in and finds out about it. And they've been talking about this very magical mushroom that grows in the Valley of Death. And so Chopper goes down there. We don't see this, it's off screen. And he gets the mushroom, comes back, brews a tea with it, and gives it to Hero Luck. But Kureha kind of reveals, like, hey, that's a poison fruit. Like, the skull and crossbones means it's, toxic. Like, he's going to die within the hour. And Hero Luck takes a bunch of bombs and goes to King Wapol's castle, and starts, just really bombing everybody, and sacrifices himself in order to try and kill Wapol. And Wapol's a character who I do not care for early in the series, and I still didn't care for him this season. I thought he was acted really well. I thought whoever played him was awesome. But he's just a character who I feel like it's just... Like, I thought he was better in the anime than he was in the TV show. I mean, I really wish we got that scene from the anime where Wapol just starts eating a ship. I thought that would have been really fun. That's his introduction in the anime, is that he just shows up on the ship with the straw hats and starts eating, like, parts of the ship in order to kind of show that he's in control of this island, and that, he can do whatever he wants. And as much as I love that storyline in the anime, Wapol himself is just I don't know. I just don't care about him. I don't know why. I wish I did, because he's so much better later in the series, and I love him later in the series, but he's a character who I feel like, I don't know, it's just a little too much, like, for me. I don't know why I don't like him. I wish I knew. But I can kind of give or take him. But I really wish that we got the character of Dalton more. He is much more of a major character in the arc, in the anime and manga, than he was in the Netflix show. He's just kind of there standing and kind of reacting to everything, which is why I think Drum Island is not my favorite section. But episode 7 is one of my favorite episodes of the season. And I really wish that Dalton had more to do. And also Zoro and Usopp, even though they do contribute to kind of defeating all of the kind of weird creatures that appear. I forgot the name of them, but a bunch of weird creatures show up and they defeat them along with the townspeople. But I really enjoyed episode 7 the most. Episode 8 was pretty good. I really love the moment when Chopper is on the ship with the crew and the cherry blossoms start falling. I really love that scene. I thought it was awesome. But now I want to get into kind of big spoilers, like all the way to chapter 1176. If you haven't caught up with the manga, I would hop off now, because there's some big spoilers I'll be talking about. So first and foremost, Lowtown. I really, really loved the scene where Luffy is struck by lightning, because it is such a kind of dead giveaway that he should have died right there, and maybe he did die, but his fruit is not ready to awaken yet. Like, Luffy is not ready to become Nika, the sun god. And so I really love how he just kind of gets back up and kind of dusts himself off and, grabs the straw hat from Bartolomeo, because it kind of hints at his sort of deeper history and that he's not really all human, because that is such a weird event in the manga and also the anime, because they don't really explain it. And in the TV show, I think they hint it really well, showing that, like, he's not all human. And I also really loved, again, seeing Dragon and Sabo, because Dragon, of course, is Luffy's dad, and I love Dragon. I wish he did more in the TV show, or in the anime, I mean, and also in the manga, because he's just kind of sitting around for most of the series. But just recently, I guess first I should talk about the scene between Roger and Garp, because Roger calls Garp the hero of God Valley, which is we don't hear of God Valley until like chapter 1000. Like, this is a event in the One Piece history that we get nothing on for 1000 chapters, and even in the anime, we're just now getting God Valley stuff in the Egghead arc. And I really loved that kind of tip-off for the fans, and I really hope that people don't look up what that is, because it is such major spoilers, especially kind of the full history of it, including Roxy Zebek, who is probably my favorite character right now, new character, because he is just such a fun character. But I also really loved kind of the back and forth between Roger and Garp, because they both know kind of the true kind of thing with that about Emu, the big bad of the series. Im-sama, I guess, is another way to call him. But I really loved that they included that. I was very kind of back and forth about it when I was watching the episode. My jaw dropped when he mentioned, like, the hero of God Valley. But I was kind of like, okay, like, maybe they're bringing in the stuff earlier. I mean, which wouldn't be bad, because it is such a major event in the world history and kind of the current timeline that's been going on. So it would make sense that they mention that together, just one-on-one in the room together. But with the way that Oda did it, I don't know when he decided to do God Valley, but he really sort of... The TV show really is kind of like accelerating things, and I love it. But I really also loved how Sabo and Dragon show up, because Dragon was also on God Valley. He was just a young Marine during this time. And that's sort of when he decides to leave the Marines and form the Revolutionary Army, who... Another character who was on God Valley is Bartholomew Kuma, who was just a child when he was on God Valley, but Kuma ends up saving hundreds of people from being killed on God Valley by the Celestial Dragons. And I really loved how the TV show... It seems like we're going to be getting more of that, because I think Kuma shows up pretty early in the series. He's definitely there by Sabaody Archipelago, that early arc. But I really loved sort of all these little seeds that are being planted with Sabo, and who is technically Luffy's brother, not by blood, but by choice. And I just can't wait to see Ace next season. I know he's casted. He's in season 3. And I just cannot wait to see more of them. I hope we get some backstory with Sabo and Ace earlier, because that was one issue I had after reading Marineford, is that we get this big backstory of Ace, Luffy, and Sabo after the death of Ace, and I really felt like it should have been reversed. We should have gotten the backstory throughout the series, maybe, or earlier. I don't know when it could be put in, but having it be after his death, I was just kind of like, yeah, like, this is all really sad, but I didn't really like that order. And I think I talked about that in my review for Marineford. I can't remember, but I'm just very curious how the Netflix show will go, because I hope they at least make it to Marineford and finish Marineford. If not, then I'm going to be very sad. I also really loved during the Laboon episode, this is another big spoiler, is that while Luffy is dancing and doing the Laboon song, the Binks' Brew, he starts doing the Nika dance, and I fucking love that. That Iñaki kind of put that in. I don't know if it was written in the script or he came up with it himself or he talked to Oda about it, being like, hey, like, I'm going to be singing this song to Laboon. Like, I want to do this. And I'm happy that he did it because that's like the first kind of hint of Nika that we get. And later in the season, we also have Dorian Brogy who keep repeating, like, glory to the sun god Nika and all this stuff. So we're getting a lot of kind of hints about Nika early in the series. And for those really kind of good people or fans who are like keeping a close eye on all the details, I wonder how many people who haven't read the manga or done the anime, how many of them will catch on with this Nika character without looking it up online, of course, because all the answers are online. So I hope that people don't do that. That's why I was very kind of back and forth about the mention of God Valley, because I was kind of like, I don't know. Like, it's kind of scary for them to, be talking about this stuff early, because you're going to have fans who are like, oh, I wonder what God Valley, oh my gosh, like, who is this shadow demon, from, hell and all this stuff, and oh my gosh, Garp and, Big Mom and Whitebeard and all these great characters that show up in that arc, well, that little mini arc. It's more of a flashback that Loki is talking about on Elbaf, and I really, really love that section, and I can't wait to reread it when the arc finishes, because I do want to reread the series on manga this time and go all the way up to the end of Elbaf and kind of, I don't know, I just want to do that. I think that'd be a fun project. But I was really struck by all the Nika foreshadowing that we get this season, because I don't know if Oda had figured that out early in the series, but he definitely had references to that. Maybe by Skypiea he had it figured out, because there's a lot of hints in Skypiea about Nika and kind of the foreshadowing behind Luffy's resurrection during Wano against his fight with Kaido, which is one of my favorite fights in the entire series. So yeah, I think that's all I want to talk about was also the character Wapol. Again, I don't care about him early in the series, but later when he's in Mary Joa with Princess Vivi, and the kind of Princess Vivi is like under distress and kind of captured by the celestial dragons, and Wapol accidentally comes in and sees Emu and all the rest of the girls say fighting Sabo, and he just freaks out. And he runs through like every wall of Mary Joa. Like, that was the moment when I really started to love Wapol in the anime / manga. But I was really I just love Wapol later during that section. So I hope they get to that section. If not, then that's fine. I mean, his death is pretty ambiguous in the season, so I think they will bring him back. If not, then that's fine. But I really hope they do get to the end of the entire One Piece series, because it's worth telling. I love those arcs. I love Dressrosa. I love Whole Cake Island. I kind of love Wano. I would say it has the highest highs of the series and also the lowest lows. And I love Egghead, and Elbaf so far is like one of the best arcs right now. I just love Elbaf. But yeah, I think that's all I'll talk about for today. Again, I'm going to do a big discussion with a friend of mine who hasn't caught up to the series yet. So I'm going to be definitely asking some questions about some of these aspects that I'm like, oh, what do you think? What did you think of when it came to, God Valley and stuff? Like, what do you think? Why do you think, Garp is the hero of God Valley? Like, don't look it up, obviously. Or God Valley, not Gold Valley. So yeah, let me know what you thought about this. I don't know if people are still watching by this point. It's a long video, but thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you think about the season down below and sort of my thoughts. And let me know who your favorite Straw Hat is, because I think this is a fun question. And of course, I love all of them, but I think Chopper is my favorite. But in terms of power, I love Luffy. He's definitely my favorite. So thank you all so much for watching. Please have a great rest of the day.